border crisis is a major policy issue heading into the elections this November, no doubt. But how do candidates plan to address it? Joining us now to share his approach, we have Abe Hamadeh, who's running for Congress in Arizona's 8th District. Abe Hamadeh, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on.
Of course, Abe, right off the bat, why is border protection such a partisan issue, and what might result from Speaker Mike Johnson and 50 Republican, members of Congress visiting the border today?
Well, I think it's a really good sign that the Republican leadership in the House of Representatives is taking it very seriously. Having that border tour just today is going to be really impactful because we know that a government shutdown is looming. And I think so many people now across the country, and you're even seeing Democrats waking up to this now. Look at Chicago's mayor and New York City's mayor. I mean, they're appalled by the amount of migrants coming in, even though that they are sanctuary cities. So it's really interesting to see how the Democrats are trying to unpretzel themselves, because the policies that they've promoted have encouraged this mass illegal immigration invasion into our country. But it's really odd, because if you look at what's going on our border, it should be a nonpartisan issue. But unfortunately, what we're seeing is that Republicans are the only ones talking about it and to want to actually do something. But Democrats right now, I think they're having a very difficult time. They're looking at the polling. Polling seems to be driving their policy decisions, unfortunately. But hopefully the Republicans now, I think we have a backbone and there's a lot of courage in Congress. So I think hopefully we're going to use that leverage that we have in Congress.
So if you're elected in Arizona's 8th Congressional District, how would you handle this influx of illegal immigrants, given the fact that we're seeing thousands of military-aged men flowing in from countries known for harboring terrorism?
Well, that's exactly right. One of the first things I want to introduce legislation-wise is classifying the drug cartels as a foreign terrorist organization. I mean, these drug cartels, they're getting all of this fentanyl coming in from China, and China's pouring it in and affecting so many of our suburban communities, and it goes all across the country, and it's killing so many young people these days. So that's one of the first things I want to work on. But if you look at the border wall, I mean, the border wall made the most sense, and unfortunately, you saw Democrats put a pause on it. You're looking at what the governor here, Katie Hobbs in Arizona. I mean, you're seeing that the port of entries are closing here, which is quite unusual, right? Where you're having Americans unable to leave the United States, but we're allowing illegal immigrants to come into our country. So we got to get a handle on it. But one of the most important things also is electing President Trump next November. We've seen how difficult it is to work with a Democrat president. So that's one of the key issues that I'm also focused on, also with the Senate, because we need to recapture the Senate. And that's why Kari Lake is also running for Senate here in Arizona. So it's really a multi-dimensional, multi-pronged war that we're fighting. But it's going to take a lot of courage right now, but 10 million people in 3 years is unsustainable. I mean, that's bigger than the population of most states. It's unacceptable, and it's putting a drain on all of our resources. So we got to get a lot tougher on it.
And you're obviously sitting in a border state that feels the brunt more than many others between you and in Arizona and Texas. So right now there appears to be a caravan of illegal migrants approaching the border. What is the feeling like down there, and how would you suggest preventing such a situation in the future as a congressman in Arizona?
Right, and I was just down at the border just a few days ago as well, and the caravans are coming because they're encouraged to come right now. Biden and the Democrats have advertised to the world that they're not going to enforce our laws. So it's not just these poor migrants, as you mentioned earlier. I mean, you're looking at possible terrorists who have infiltrated foreign spies who are coming in. But this is where we have to get a lot tougher with negotiating with Mexico. We saw last week, despicably, Anthony Blinken and Mayorkas go to Mexico. They couldn't even pull a deal together with Mexico. Here, Mexico's driving our policy on our border. It's unacceptable. So this is where Congress and the Senate, and especially with the foreign policy committees, they have to have a lot stronger stance with Mexico and actually use the leverage that we have. I mean, Mexico relies on the United States a lot more than we rely on Mexico. And that's what President Trump understood, and that's why he was able to successfully negotiate with Mexico and also build the wall. So that's something we got to get back to. All of these policies that we're talking about, I mean, they were working for the 4 years under President Trump. So it doesn't take rocket science. It requires common sense to go back to the America First values.
Abe Hamadeh, congressional candidate in Arizona's 8th District. Really appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.